Did you know that the average human brain starts to show signs of cognitive decline by the age of 45? That's a decade or two earlier than most of us expect. But what if I told you that this decline isn't just a grim inevitability of aging, but something you can actively resist? Today, we're diving into how ancient Buddhist practices, combined with modern neuroscience, not only challenge this timeline, but offer us a path to retain and even enhance our mental clarity as we age. This isn't just about small tweaks to your daily habits. It's about transforming how you interact with the world around you, fundamentally altering your brain's health for the better. From the foods you eat to the moments you choose to savor silence or engage in mindful movement, every choice can be a powerful part of your cognitive toolkit. And if you appreciate what we're doing here, showing you these transformative insights, consider hitting that subscribe button. It's a simple, free way to keep learning and growing with us. Don't skip any part of the video. Stick with me as we explore these life-changing practices together. And let's embark on this journey towards a sharper, more vibrant mind. Let's find out how the wisdom of the Buddha can help us today, in our everyday lives, to live more fully and think more clearly. When we dive into the intersection of ancient wisdom and cutting-edge science, it's like opening a treasure chest of knowledge that's been accumulating for centuries. It's fascinating to see how modern research is beginning to validate what Buddhist monks have practiced and preached for thousands of years, especially when it comes to understanding the human mind and how we can keep it sharp and vibrant as we age. Buddhist practices such as meditation, mindfulness, and the philosophical teachings on the nature of the mind have long suggested that our mental capabilities don't have to decline as rapidly or inevitably as we might fear. These practices focus on training the mind to enhance focus, reduce stress, and foster a deeper sense of clarity, all of which modern neuroscience is catching up to. For example, numerous studies have shown that regular meditation not only lowers stress and improves emotional well-being, but also leads to structural changes in the brain that enhance memory, attention, and self-regulation. The beautiful synergy between these ancient practices and modern science provides us with a roadmap for maintaining cognitive health. Neuroscientists today use advanced imaging techniques to observe the brain in action during meditation and mindfulness exercises. What they've found is quite remarkable. Consistent practice can actually increase the brain's grey matter, which is involved in muscle control and sensory perception such as seeing and hearing, as well as memory, emotions, speech, decision-making, and self-control. Moreover, practices aimed at mindfulness and meditation contribute to the thickening of the prefrontal cortex, the area of the brain associated with advanced cognitive behavior, personality expression, decision-making, and moderating social behavior. Let's not forget about neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life. Buddhist teachings have long held that the mind is malleable and capable of transformation at any age, a view that is fully supported by today's neuroplasticity research. This research tells us that our brains are not fixed, but rather continually changing in response to our experiences, behaviors, and even thoughts. One of the most striking areas where Buddhism and neuroscience converge is in their understanding of how our environment and daily habits influence our mental functions. The Buddhist concept of mindfulness, paying full attention to the present moment, aligns closely with scientific findings on the benefits of engaging fully with one's environment. Such engagement has been shown to improve memory and cognitive sharpness by keeping the mind active and alert, not just passively observing but interacting deeply with our surroundings. In addition to these practices, Buddhist teachings on diet and physical health also find backing in scientific studies. The importance of a clean, mindful diet in Buddhist practice, which emphasizes eating in moderation and consuming mindfully, correlates with scientific research that links diet quality with cognitive function. Foods rich in antioxidants, omega-3 fatty acids and vitamins are now advocated in the scientific community for their roles in decreasing oxidative stress and inflammation in the brain, which can lead to better cognitive outcomes. In this wonderful blend of ancient wisdom and modern science, we find compelling evidence that the time-honored practices of Buddhism not only enrich our spiritual lives, but have tangible benefits for our cognitive health and mental longevity. By adopting these practices, we're not just following a spiritual path, we're also making a solid, science-backed investment in our mental future. This holistic approach shows us that caring for our mind is not just about dealing with thoughts, it's about nurturing our entire being inside and out. John had always been the kind of person who prided himself on his sharp memory and quick wit. As a retired high school history teacher, his ability to recall detailed historical facts and dates had once been the stuff of legend amongst his students. However, in recent months he noticed a troubling change. It began subtly, misplacing his glasses, forgetting appointments, and the names of acquaintances slipping just out of reach like shadows at dusk. One chilly autumn morning, while walking his dog Max through the neighborhood park, a place he'd visited countless times over the years, John experienced a moment that shook him to his core. Midway through the park, he suddenly stopped. The familiar paths seemed alien, and for a terrifying few minutes he couldn't remember which way led home. This wasn't just forgetfulness like misplacing keys. It was as if a piece of himself had momentarily vanished. Frightened but determined, John began seeking answers. He stumbled upon a concept in Buddhist teachings that resonated deeply with him: the idea that the mind, like the body, needs to be nurtured and exercised to maintain its health and vitality. The Buddha taught mindfulness as a way of living, a method to be present in each moment and action, which John realized he had neglected in his retirement. Inspired, he decided to actively engage with these practices not just as philosophical concepts, but as daily habits to reclaim his mental agility. He started with simple changes, like mindfulness meditation each morning. Sitting quietly, he focused on his breath, anchoring himself in the present moment. This practice helped him feel more centered throughout the day, reducing the foggy moments that had started to cloud his thoughts. He learned that mindfulness wasn't just about combating forgetfulness. It was about cultivating a mental clarity that enriched his understanding of himself and his surroundings. John also revisited texts and sutras that he had once skimmed over during his teaching days, finding new meaning in old teachings. He read about the Buddhist understanding of the mind as an ever-changing stream of consciousness, a concept that helped him accept and adapt to the changes he was experiencing. It wasn't about fighting aging, but rather about embracing it with grace and wisdom. This journey wasn't easy. There were days when the fear of a declining mind loomed large, threatening to undo his efforts. But every time he meditated or walked mindfully through the park, feeling the crisp air and the rustle of leaves underfoot, he was reminded of the Buddha's teachings on impermanence and resilience. Each mindful step was a step away from fear and a step towards mental freedom. Grounding, or earthing as it's often called, is such a beautifully simple practice yet so profoundly impactful. John discovered this ancient technique through his exploration of Buddhist teachings, which often emphasize a deep connection with the natural world as a way to cultivate mindfulness and inner peace. Each morning, as the dawn breaks, John steps out into his garden. There's something magical about the cool, dewy grass under his feet, a ritual that wakes up every sense in his body while calming the mind. This practice, deeply rooted in simplicity, involves nothing more than walking barefoot on the earth. It's believed that direct contact with the ground allows your body to absorb negative ions from the earth, These ions are thought to neutralize free radicals, potentially leading to reduced inflammation throughout the body. Inflammation is a root cause of many chronic diseases and cognitive decline, so by reducing these levels, we're not just improving our physical health but our mental clarity as well. Moreover, the benefits of grounding extend beyond just physical health. For John, starting the day by connecting with the earth is a meditation in motion. It sets a grounded tone for the day, allowing him to cultivate a state of mindfulness that stays with him through his daily activities. It's about more than just the act of walking. It's about absorbing the world around him, noticing the small details, the coolness of the soil, the texture of the grass, and the morning sounds of birds chirping. This practice brings him into the present moment, which is a cornerstone of Buddhist practice. The Buddha himself spent a lot of time walking in nature, using these moments as opportunities for deep reflection and meditation. Scientifically, studies have suggested that such direct contact with the earth might help improve sleep by normalizing your day-night rhythm and potentially increasing the release of the hormone melatonin at night. John noticed these changes himself. Before incorporating grounding into his routine, he often struggled with sleep issues. However, since starting his morning grounding ritual, he finds that he falls asleep faster and his sleep quality has improved significantly. But let's talk about the mental clarity aspect, which for John was the most compelling reason to continue this practice. There is something inherently calming about starting the day in such a sync with nature. It's as if by silencing the external noises, the mind finds its rhythm. This clarity, this silence of the mind, is something that Buddhist monks strive for through various practices, grounding being one of them. They believe that a clear mind is more receptive, more aware, and ultimately more insightful. John's transformation into mindful eating began with a simple yet profound realization. Every bite of food is not just sustenance, but a message to the body and mind. Rooted in Buddhist principles that teach us to treat food as medicine, John learned that what we consume directly affects not just our physical health, but also our mental clarity and emotional stability. As he delved deeper into this practice, he discovered how ancient wisdom aligned seamlessly with modern nutritional science, both advocating for a diet rich in foods that enhance cognitive function. With each meal, John turned his dining table into a place of intention and awareness. He chose foods known for their brain-boosting properties, like omega-3 fatty acids found in walnuts and flax seeds, which are crucial for maintaining brain health. Antioxidants in blueberries and the vitamin K in spinach are celebrated for their role in enhancing cognitive abilities and preventing memory loss. As John incorporated these foods into his daily meals, he noticed subtle shifts in his ability to focus and remember details more sharply. But mindful eating goes beyond just choosing the right foods. It's about engaging with every aspect of the eating process with mindfulness. John learned to savor each flavor and texture, to appreciate the colors on his plate, and to eat slowly, allowing his mind to register each bite as an act of nourishment. This practice of presence during meals turned into a form of meditation, calming his mind and allowing him to feel more grounded. In line with Buddhist teachings, John also began reflecting on the interdependence of life while he ate. He thought about the farmers who grew his food, the earth that nourished it, and the journey each ingredient took to his plate. This reflection brought a deeper sense of gratitude and connection to his meals, enriching his eating experience beyond the physical nutrients being absorbed. Furthermore, John experimented with traditional Buddhist recipes that use simple, wholesome ingredients and spices known to aid digestion and enhance mental clarity. He learned that in Buddhist monasteries, meals are often taken in silence, allowing the monks to fully concentrate on the act of eating and the sensations it brings. Inspired by this, John occasionally practiced silent meals, finding that this silence amplified his senses and deepened his appreciation for the food. As John's journey with mindful eating evolved, so did his understanding of how deeply our food choices are connected to our mental and spiritual well-being. He realized that each meal was an opportunity not just to eat, but to nourish his body, soothe his mind, and honor the world around him. This holistic approach to eating turned what was once a routine part of his day into a meaningful ritual that nourished him on multiple levels. Rediscovering the soundtrack of his younger days turned out to be more than just a trip down memory lane for John. It became a profound tool in his journey to mental clarity and emotional richness. As he delved into the melodies that had colored his youth, each song seemed to hold a key, unlocking memories that had been tucked away, seemingly lost to the fog of time. This wasn't mere nostalgia. It was an active re-engagement with the parts of himself he thought he had left behind. In Buddhist thought, music holds a special place as it transcends mere entertainment. It is considered a powerful medium for meditation and mindfulness, offering a pathway to the deeper recesses of the mind and soul. Monks have long used chants and rhythmic drumming to enter deeper states of meditation, finding that these sounds help stabilize the mind and sustain concentration. For John, the music was like a mantra, each note a focus point, each lyric a meditation on the moments that had shaped him. As he listened, John noticed that certain songs brought back more than just the good times. They revived the feelings and thoughts he experienced back then, painting a vivid picture of his past adventures, challenges, and achievements. This musical journey wasn't just about reminiscing, it was about understanding his former self, gaining insights into the decisions he made and the life paths he chose. The power of music to evoke memory is well documented in scientific circles as well. Research shows that music activates parts of the brain associated with emotional and episodic memory. For someone like John, whose initial fear was losing those very memories, integrating music into his daily routine became a way to strengthen those neural pathways, essentially exercising them with each song. But the benefits extended beyond mere memory retrieval. Engaging actively with music also proved to be a cognitive exercise. Trying to remember lyrics or the contexts in which he used to play certain songs was akin to a mental workout. Over time, John found that this practice not only brought back old memories, but also made him more attentive and mentally agile in his daily activities. He began to notice details he would have otherwise overlooked, and his conversations became richer, filled with anecdotes he had retrieved through his musical explorations. Moreover, the emotional healing aspect of reconnecting with his musical past was significant. Each melody, each rhythm seemed to soothe him, offering comfort for past regrets and rejuvenating his zest for current life. It was as if the music reassured him that while the past may fade, it still holds a formative power over who he becomes every day. Thus, John's exploration of music became a foundational practice in his life, much like the daily meditations of a Buddhist monk. It was a spiritual ritual that brought him peace, joy, and a deep sense of connection to his life's journey. In this melodic embrace, he found not just memories, but also the resilience and joy of his youth, reminding him that while his body aged, his spirit could remain as vibrant and lively as ever. Embarking on the path to better brain health doesn't require strenuous workouts or expensive gym memberships. For John, the simple act of walking became a cornerstone of his cognitive rejuvenation. Embracing the teachings of Buddhism that advocate for a harmonious balance between mind and body, John discovered that even the gentlest forms of movement could profoundly impact his mental clarity and overall mood. Each morning, as the sun began to cast its early light, John would step outside for a walk. This wasn't just a physical exercise, it was a spiritual practice. With each step, he practiced mindfulness, fully present in the moment, absorbing the details around him, the cool morning breeze, the chirping of birds, and the rustle of leaves underfoot. This connection to his environment grounded him, much like the Buddhist monks who perform walking meditation to cultivate peace and awareness. In addition to walking, John incorporated gentle yoga into his routine. Yoga, in its essence, is deeply rooted in Buddhist practices that aim to unify the body, mind, and spirit. Through poses and breathwork, John not only strengthened his body but also cleared his mind. Each movement in yoga is an opportunity to practice mindfulness, to focus deeply on the breath and the body's movements, creating a calm space in the mind that's free from the usual clutter of thoughts. The effects of these activities extended beyond physical health benefits. Science shows us that regular physical activity, especially in natural settings, can significantly decrease symptoms of depression and anxiety. For John, walking and yoga became powerful tools for managing his emotions and enhancing his mental alertness. As he made these activities a regular part of his life, he noticed a shift not only in his physical stamina, but also in his cognitive functions. His memory improved, his concentration sharpened, and he felt more engaged with his daily tasks. Moreover, the practice of regular movement supported John's cognitive health in a very direct way. Research indicates that exercise increases heart rate, which pumps more oxygen to the brain. It also aids the release of hormones which provide an excellent environment for the growth of brain cells. The Buddhist perspective adds a deeper dimension to this, viewing physical health as essential to spiritual and mental well-being, thus enhancing one's capacity for wisdom and understanding. As John's journey unfolded, the integration of movement into his daily life did more than just clear his mind. It reinvigorated his spirit. He began to view his walks and yoga sessions not as chores, but as gifts, opportunities to reconnect with himself and the world around him. This transformation was not lost on his friends and family, who noticed the more vibrant, engaged, and joyful John. Tending to the garden of the mind is a metaphor that beautifully encapsulates the essence of cognitive wellness. In much the same way that a gardener weeds, waters, and nurtures their plants, we too can nurture our minds. John discovered the profound truth of this analogy through his journey into cognitive exercises like puzzles and crosswords, which served as his tools for mental cultivation. In Buddhist thought, the mind is not fixed, it's dynamic, constantly shaped by our activities and thoughts. This idea is mirrored in the scientific concept of neuroplasticity, which suggests that our brains can change and adapt, forming new connections throughout life. Engaging in cognitive challenges is like aerating the soil of the mind, allowing fresh ideas and memories to take root more easily. John's routine began simply. Each morning, over a cup of coffee, he'd tackle the crossword puzzle from the newspaper. Initially, it was more about the ritual, the comforting routine. But as days turned into weeks, he noticed subtle shifts. Names and trivia that once seemed elusive began to stick. The puzzles weren't just filling time, they were stretching the fabric of his cognitive capabilities, making it more elastic, more resilient. Expanding from crosswords, John ventured into other types of brain games, Sudoku, logic puzzles, and even riddles that required lateral thinking. Each new format introduced not just variety, but a way to engage different parts of his brain. Like a garden flourishing with diverse species of plants, John's mind began to show signs of lush growth across various domains of memory and reasoning. On some evenings, he'd invite friends over for a game night, which turned into a lively exchange of not just laughs, but also cognitive challenges. They'd play strategy games that required foresight and planning, skills closely linked with executive brain functions. This social aspect added another layer of complexity to his cognitive exercises. It wasn't just about solving a puzzle in isolation. It was about interacting, strategizing, and sometimes outsmarting his peers. John's practice of cognitive challenges became a core part of his philosophy, a daily discipline as vital as meditation. In Buddhism, meditation teaches us to observe our thoughts without attachment, to understand the impermanence of our emotions and sensations. Similarly, by treating each puzzle as a new opportunity to observe his mental processes, recognizing patterns, noting when he got stuck, and celebrating the small victories, John found a meditative quality in his mental workouts. They became a space for mindfulness where he could hone his focus and patience. Months into his routine, the benefits were undeniable. Not only was John sharper in recalling details, but he also found himself more present in conversations, quicker to solve everyday problems, and more creative in his thinking. He realized that each cognitive challenge was a step toward a more vibrant, engaged, and present mind. Gratitude isn't just a simple thank you. It's a transformative practice that can reshape our minds and enhance our daily lives. John, like many of us, used to end his days by reflecting on what went wrong or what could have been better. But when he began to integrate gratitude into his evening routine, the change was profound. He took a few minutes each night to think about what he was thankful for, small victories, moments of joy, acts of kindness from others. This shift in focus from problems to blessings significantly decreased his stress and infused his days with a brighter, more positive mood. In Buddhist teachings, gratitude is more than just a virtue. It's a way of perceiving and interacting with the world that aligns us with the true essence of life. It teaches us to appreciate the present moment and recognize the interconnectedness of all things. By cultivating gratitude, we acknowledge everything as a gift, which in turn deepens our connection to the world and the people around us. This practice is not just about being thankful for the good things, but also about finding worth and lessons in the challenges. Science, too, has begun to uncover just how impactful gratitude can be for our mental health. Studies have shown that regularly expressing gratitude changes the brain's molecular structure, making us healthier and happier. It increases the production of dopamine and serotonin, two neurotransmitters responsible for our emotions, and enhances the function of our prefrontal cortex, which manages negative emotions like guilt and regret. Essentially, by being grateful, we're wiring our brains to be more optimistic and resilient. John noticed these effects in his own life. Each evening, as he jotted down the things he was grateful for, he found himself more at ease, sleeping better, and waking up with a renewed perspective on life. He started to notice more, the way the morning light filled his room, the sound of his grandchildren laughing, the peacefulness of his neighborhood. Life hadn't changed, but his perception of it had, dramatically. Moreover, John's practice of gratitude became a bridge to deeper spiritual exploration. In Buddhism, mindfulness and gratitude go hand in hand, each practice enriching the other. John began to meditate on the nature of gratitude, which brought him even closer to Buddhist principles of impermanence and interconnectedness. He saw his life as part of a larger tapestry, each thread woven with experiences both challenging and rewarding. This broader perspective made him more accepting of life's ebbs and flows, embracing each day not just as a sequence of events, but as an opportunity for growth and contribution. Just like John, you too can take simple, impactful steps to preserve and enhance your mental clarity. Which of these habits will you try? Grounding yourself in nature, savoring mindful meals, rediscovering music, moving more, challenging your brain, or perhaps embracing gratitude. Let us know in the comments which habit resonates most with you and any changes you plan to make. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights on living a mindful, vibrant life. Together, let's keep our minds sharp and our spirits high. Thank you for joining the Buddhist Journey today. Remember, every small change contributes to a larger transformation. Share your journey and support others in our community as we all strive to live more intentionally with presence and gratitude. Until next time, stay sharp and embrace the beauty of each moment.